Oh, hush. Okay, we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We're live. Well, well, well. Let's see who's going to come in today. Let's see. Let's go to the phone. Let's get out of this thing. Turn that down. Turn it down. Turn it down. Okay. There we go. Set that there. We set that there. And we set that there. And we'll go over there. And we'll see what happens here. And anybody that's coming aboard, this is a whole different day. A whole different day. And we'll see how it goes. But I've got to set some standards and some boundaries. So we'll just see who comes in, who don't. There's three that says it's in here right now. So we'll see who comes in. Um, and we're going to go over some things. Sunday talk. And we'll do that. We'll copy that. We'll go down here and hit that. And we paste it there. And we add it into the chat again. And so we'll just see. I'm not going to have what I had last time, guys. People, I'm very serious about what I'm doing. You know, I don't care about the millions of dollars that they say it takes to run for president or run for anything. I don't care what they say, what you have to do as far as that matter is concerned. What I am concerned with is in 2024 that I've made a difference in my country. That Washington, D.C. sees what the people of the United States, the average American citizen, whether if you are low income, middle income, or high income, um, it doesn't make no difference. I stand by our President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and there in one of my last broadcasts on StreamYards, I had people hating me. And Plano um, um, was Plano. It wasn't good, and I'm gonna get a hold of it. I'm gonna get a handle on my channel. Um, the hate speech and the racism words, I will not tolerate no more. And I will tell you this: I do not like the N word. I don't like the racism stuff. I've never been racist, and I don't like no one coming in my channel using those type of words. And you know, if you got a problem with that, then I don't need you here. And I know that for a fact that um, that goes on in YouTube. Well, it can go on, but it can go on other channels. And I know that I will lose subscribers. I know that's a gimme. I know I'll lose subscribers, and I'm good with that. I've done lost about 40 subscribers. It got up to about 100, 640, and I'm back down to I think 610. 610 subscribers is what I've got, and I'm good with that because you know I understand if you don't agree with me on some of my policies that I'm going to set forth with. I understand that I have to be reasonable and I have to be vigilant on what I stand for. It's not all about country boy news. And I'll set that record straight real quick. It's not about country boy news. It's not about what's just going to benefit me. It's what's going to benefit every American citizen. Mr. Trump has um, done some good things, but he's been ridiculed and people are trying to take him down because he's not a politician. I don't agree with everything that he says. I don't. But I do agree with a lot of things that he does. Big Tim Hill News, thank you for coming in. And I'll tell you something, I will have control of my channel. Uh, this is not just a channel for Country Boy News. It is my campaign channel. So I have to treat it different. The last one I do, I put it on private and I've locked it. And I lost control of my channel there for a little bit. And so I ended it and I put it on private. And I love having my mods, but when a mod blocks somebody for asking me a question about policy or about certain issues, I've got a problem with that. Blue Isis, how you doing? Big Ten. What's going on is I've got to get help because I cannot have someone coming into my channel. And if you guys want to ask me a question about policy or come on my panel and talk about issues and policies across the nation, that's what it's for. It ain't to get on here and start yelling and screaming and blocking people and timing people out because you don't agree with what they're doing. And I'm trying to use my phone because my messages don't come up as quick. Mama Graham, how you doing? South Swamp Fox, hello. Blue Isis. If you want to come in, the link is up there. Matter of fact, I've got good at cutting and pasting. At least that. And my killer dog is down here, and he hears my neighbor out here. But I've got to put a handle on things. If you want to ask me a question, ask me a question. Mama No, you're still a mod in here. I've taken a lot of them out. I went through some of it, and I've unmodded everybody. It ain't because look, don't take me wrong. I got to do this that way. No one ever gets timed out, blocked, or whatever for asking me simple questions. That's what I've got to do, guys. I've got to do this right. People's got to be able to ask me questions on issues and policies and stuff that I do. And I invite anybody that wants to come on here and ask me questions. And I'd like to see you face to face. But I can't have. Now, there's two things, Mono, that I don't and will not tolerate. Number one, hate speech. Number two, racism stuff. If someone comes into my channel and starts using the N word, believe me, I got my phone. That's why I got my phone. They're gonna be blocked. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the N word. I'm not racist, and I'm sick of hearing that. And it seems, oh, there's the first lady. I don't believe in racism. I don't believe you don't have to apologize. Look, here's wave it, everybody. There's the first lady. She'll make a good one too. Uh, but no, I don't believe in racism. And the ones that create the racism is the ones that's in Washington D.C. The higher ups across the country, they're always bringing it up, and I get sick of it. Hello, boss lady. She is. She's probably watching in there some, but I don't agree with that. And if you come in here using them, I will take you off the panel, and I will block you. And it's not to try to hate nobody but I just can't do that. I'm running a campaign on trust, transparency, total, and what I believe in. That's what I believe in. The big money politicians has run this country long enough, and I believe I can make a difference. I may not win president, but I will make a difference in what I do. And let's welcome Jim the trucker. Hello, sir.
Hello,
How are you?
everyone.
Um, Jim and everybody. I lost control of my channel on my last stream yards with an individual that was using the N word, and I was losing control of people timing out and wanting to block people. This I've got to run this where people can ask questions, and I wished I could remember the guy's name that was on here trying to ask me legit questions, and he kept on getting timed out. I will not tolerate that. Jim, Mama Known said, "Hello, sir."
Well, you ready for me to fire this off with a couple of real good questions?
Well, as long as you don't fire too hard, don't burn my desk down. This is not the Oval Office, and I don't have one of them expensive oak desks.
No, that's my desk.
Well, these are good questions, but they're simple questions. First one,
Okay.
what would you do with the situation that is going on in Virginia, trying to pass their common self laws to restricting guns, which were in reality actually restricts you from owning a gun?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and I can honestly tell you, our Constitution guarantees under the Second Amendment that everybody has the right to bear and have arms. Number one. Number two, that it says that shall not be infringed on. What's going on in Virginia is a bunch of left-wing Democrats that is trying to start in a weak part of our country and then make it blast all over the country. That will have to stop. I understand you do not want to murder owning guns. I understand you do not want certain people that's been convicted of crimes owning guns. I get that. But I also believe that someone that has messed up in their life, made a mess, but they have got out and they have made a good thing for themselves. They straighten their life up, and it's proven that these people are good American citizens under the Constitution, once they pay their debt to society, their rights are their rights. They're not privileges. The Constitution, the amendment to the Constitution, is a God-given right. It is not a privilege. Your driver's license, Jim, you know as well as I do, they can be taken away from you indefinite. And
Oh yeah.
there's nothing we can do about that. But our Constitution, the Second Amendment, guarantees a God-given right. So one of the, I don't know, this is something that I would like to do uh, as president of the United States. I would like to make an executive order that our Constitution is our God-given rights, that every citizen of the United States that is not a threat to society, that is not, should, regardless of what they went through in their past, should have that right. They're trying to stop, Jim. They're trying to stop and start somewhere of taking people's rights and taking their guns from them. And that is wrong.
I'm still here. I got you.
Okay. That's how I feel. I think that the federal government needs to step in and say, look, enough of these states that keeps on infringing on people's rights, and these politicians that keeps on trying to infringe on people's God-given rights, that needs to stop.
That was pretty powerful there. Now, second question. If you were to make office and become the president of the United States, would you red flag law? Red flag law.
I was asked that by someone at the truck stop there at Fort Wayne at the Flying J. And me and one of the truck drivers that I know asked me that. He said, what about this red flag law? And, I have read most of it. I've not read it all. But that was a sneaky government way of infringing on people's rights.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I read in the red flag law. This is what I read. This is what I understood it to say. Say, you, Jim, you own 4, 5, 6 guns. And say I'm your brother or a neighbor. All I have to do is just say, Jim is a threat to society. He's a threat to this, that, and the other. Or I don't like him. They can come take your guns on just what I say. It doesn't be proven in court of law, according to under the red flag. And
right. Well, with no conjecture, no warrant, no
that is
legal obligation.
That is unconstitutional. And
absolutely,
that red flag law needs to be repealed. It needs to be taken out, and that can be taken out with executive orders.
That was my 2 questions. Anybody else out there have any?
I'm trying to read chat and talk to you guys, but that's how I feel about the red flag law. That, I think, is a way of these left-wing radicals, their way of taking and slipping in and taking the American citizens' rights away. And that, that is getting to be a problem every day. Every day, they're trying to come up with something to take our rights away. And from what I gathered, Jim, I can do an executive order to disband that red flag. And that is one of the things that I will do, is get a handle on our rights. In Congress, everybody's wanting to say about the Constitution. If they respected the Constitution, they wouldn't be trying to put these laws in to take American citizens' rights away from them, period. They wouldn't be doing it if they understood the Constitution.
Well, I believe they're trying to turn us into a communist state. They want to have military government instead of our judicial government.
And I watched I think it was Fox 10. It was up in Chicago, and they was out there protesting or something other. And one of the ladies said that this, and I've got to go back and watch it. I've got it marked. Uh, that this guy had a communist uh, uh, order that they wanted to replace their constitution with, and they give the name and the link in that when Fox was covering it for him to go look at. I need to go look at that and see just how radical this person is trying to get it done across the country. I don't think it ever be done, but you have extremists out there that wants a communist country, wants
Yeah.
total government control, and that's not what our country is founded on. That is not what our country is founded on. It's founded on freedom. That's why we left England. That's why we left and fought the war against, Britain and them guys. Is because we didn't want to be under a monarchy. We didn't want to be under a king's control or a queen's control. We wanted freedom. And that's our Constitution. It took years for that to happen. I think it was 1791 or two, or somewhere 1790 something, when it was finally put into place. And people are wanting to take all of that away from us, and I think it's wrong. Um, it just, you know, and and I will let me address this issue. Somebody asked me the other day about what I thought of President Trump taking out that general. Well, I've listened to a lot of the Democrats, and they are praising the Iraqis. They are praising what this general had done in Iran, but they turn around and say he was a bad person. So, other presidents has taken out terrorists, but they wasn't condemned for it. 600 plus American soldiers' blood was on that general's hand, but they was making it like the United States caused him to do that. We didn't cause him to do that. The airplane that got shot down, the Iraqi or Iran airplane that got shot down. They tried to blame us. Even the Democrats blamed us for shooting that plane down. We didn't have control over those missiles. We had nothing to do with buying them. We had nothing to do with the military that shot that plane down. But a lot of the Democrats was, blaming us for that. How can you blame us for something for what another country does as a terrorist? I don't get it.
Well, in situations like that, even if we did do it, 90% of that information, it don't come from our military. It comes from the CIA. The CIA has a way of playing the game.
Yeah. Mama No just put this up. Okay, and I'm gonna read it. Our government is at stand right now. Don't like the fact that we the people have our own options and know our rights. They want us to be mindless zombies that don't question and just obey. You're absolutely right. And
Yep.
I'm not willing to obey. Like I said, that is a good statement. I don't care if you don't agree with what I say, that's fine. You can say it. You can say you don't agree with me. I've got to go with facts. Okay. Yeah, I'm running the Republican ticket, but I had to take the options of where my money comes from and what I can do with it. And if I get to a certain point, I will let you guys know now. I have been guaranteed $20 million in my campaign if I can get so far in the next 2 years. I'm guaranteed $20 million. And it's and I've been working on this, and there's no strings attached to it. They agree with what I think. They agree with my policy that we went over. We went over a lot of things. And in 2 years, if I have gotten so far and I have got so many followers, I'm guaranteed $20 million to start my campaign when it gets ready. You know, People says that I can't get the money. Yes, you can. They say you can't run because you don't have a political background. Well, Donald Trump did not have a political background. He's a businessman, and that's why they don't like him. He's not a politician. He goes about things a little bit different from a politician.
I got to contradict that statement for a minute.
Huh?
I got to contradict that statement for a minute.
What?
The statement that the people say that you can't run because you're not a politician. That's not true at all. You don't. How many of our presidents became president and they were never a politician? They came straight out of the military.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make them a politician.
Well, like I said, they said because I'm not a politician that I shouldn't be running. I think S&S Productions is in here, guys. I didn't come in, but Jim, I've got to look at this way. I've got one thing, or I got two things that they don't have. Number one, nobody has me bought and put in their pocket. Number two, I look at things with common sense. That's what I do. I look at the whole picture. Now, look, and I'll be honest with you, as president, Jim, if a Democrat has a good idea that I see that will work for everybody, I'll support it all the way. And if it's a bill that will help our economy or help the American citizen and help the people and not harm people, that bill comes across my desk, I will sign it. That's how I feel.
And that's really the way it should be, because it should have nothing to do with what branch of government you're portraying. It has to do with what is best for the people.
If I ran independent, I lose a lot of ways of being able to get money to run my campaign. Now, I had to pick the better of both evils. No, I don't agree, and I'll be honest with you, I do not agree with everything that the Republican stands for. The Republican, I don't agree with everything that they want and do or believe in. I don't agree with everything. What I do agree with is good policy and good common sense government. Now, another thing that someone asked me about was schools, public schools, and parenting. I believe the government needs to get the hell out of parenting. I believe we need to let the local schools run their schools. I don't believe Washington, D.C. should be running a school down here in Sydney, Ohio, or in Springfield, Missouri, or Luckenbach, Texas, or Nashville, Tennessee, or Charleston, South Carolina, or Springfield, Missouri. All these places, they need to be running their schools. They know what their school, they know what the children need there at the local level. I think the local government needs to get out of parenting. Quit telling, if you give parents the right to punish or raise their children without the fear of going to jail, I think they do a better job. Parents are so scared to spank their children. They're so scared to scold their children and tell them no that they let them do whatever they want. I think we need to give parenting back to parenting. I'm not saying abuse children. I'm saying if they need punished, let them punish. You know, government needs to stay out of the parents' parenting, and I believe that. Uh, we didn't have that crap when I was growing up, and I think it worked now. Uh, uh, and I've watched it over years. I have watched it over years on his parenting and on schools. And until we give our local schools, our local people control where they can uh, where they can parent and they can do what their school system needs to do for the right thing for the children, I think we'll have better students. I think we'll have better leaders in our communities if we let our parents and our local schools handle these problems. What works in Sydney, Ohio, where I live, may not work in Springfield, Missouri, or in a little town in Texas, or in a place in Wyoming, or in a place in Massachusetts. It may be something different that they have to do to help their students, our children, grow and be responsible adults. So, like I said, I know, guys, Jim, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose some subscribers. Like I said, I probably lost 40 over the last, since I started this. It went up to 640 and now it's back to 110. But, I expect that. The serious people will come to my channel and will support me. And if you support me, that's fine. If you don't agree with all of my policies that I believe in and stuff that I believe in, that's fine. Let's work on it. Don't start using nasty language and hate speech. Let's talk about it. That's the only way problems get solved is if we work together as a community and as a nation to do what's best for our communities, our states, our counties, and our government. I just think government has too much control in our personal lives. Um,
Now, I want to mention something on you came up with the issue, which was a really good issue, was about schools. But your segment of the schools was totally different from what I'm going to come out with. To everybody out there, everybody who can hear me and listening to me, we all live in a state. Every single one of our states has lottery and scratch off tickets. Does anybody know the reality of that lottery and scratch off tickets? Well, I'm going to explain it to you. 35% of the revenue made off of lottery and scratch off is supposed to go to the education system. Now, I'm going to do a small little breakdown. Let's say, for instance, my state, New York State, population of grown adults. I'm not counting everybody, but population of grown adults is over 6.5 million. At least 2/3 of that 6.5 million spend $1 per day on a lottery ticket or a scratch off ticket. 35% of that 6.5 million is close to $2.7 million in 1 week. Where's all that money to support them schools?
well, Jim, you're right. And I checked on it here in Ohio. The The percentage is a little bit higher from what I gathered, but I also checked too that states and different ones, as far as this lottery is concerned, and needs to be addressed, is they've got little loopholes that they can take that money instead of schools and use it on other projects. And I don't think that's right. The lottery could run our public school systems if they would use all that money for the public school systems. Uh, anytime you get money involved, guess what? You've got politicians with their hands out wanting to control that money and where it goes.
And that, my brother, is why we need a president in that office that is going to stand up for his people.
And that's what I want to do, Jim. I want to stand up for the working people, for the people that struggles every day, for the people that, that has lost sight of what family is and what our local, let me tell you about my local school, Sydney, Ohio. Okay. Let me tell you about it. Sydney, Ohio public schools is some of the worst, one of the worst in education that I've seen. They're not highly ranked, but we did have one student from our Sydney local school that wound up with scholarships and really done good. A little black gal, and she done really good. She got scholarships. She got offers to colleges and stuff. But that's one of out of however many students they had graduate this year. Only one. But the reason why I say that about this school here, I know how they treat Little Country. I know how their school systems operate on their classes and what they're teaching. They're teaching a new math. Yeah, it comes out with the same answer is what you do the old-fashioned way. Why do we need a new way to teach a student math? We don't. It's a government control thing. We want you to learn it this way. Well, that restricts how they learn. And so this new math thing that they've got here is wrong. I'm to the point of, look, I want y'all's support. I want y'all's help. I do. I'm going to get now in the description of this video. I've got my email. I'm going to have, hopefully in the next week, I didn't get it done this weekend. I will have a PO box, and a campaign finance account to do things. I've got other things that I've got to get done, but it's going to take me a little bit to do it because I'm starting this on my own money, but I still got my family to take care of.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mama Noma. That Common Core is the worst thing they came out with. My kids brought that home, and I was trying to help them do it, and they said, "No, Dad, it doesn't matter if we do it that way. We have to do it the way they want us to. It doesn't matter if the answer is right or wrong, as long as the problem's solved the way they want it."
That's wrong.
Not teaching math.
That's wrong. It does matter if the problem is right or wrong, Jim. You know that.
But, yeah, of course. I came up on basic math. I know exactly what's right or wrong. I like to see him do that with a car. Well, this car has 5 lugs on the front left tire, but you only have to put 3 on.
Thorne, here you go. Thorne, he asked me about cutting parts of the federal government uh, agencies. And I tell you what, and I'm look, don't take. Let me specify, uh, uh, Don. I'm not wanting to cut funding for public schools from the federal level. Okay, this is not what I'm saying. One of the agencies is the federal control over our state and local schools. They have put in policies that the local schools, like my local school here and your local school, they have to follow to be able to get funding. You got to do it the federal government way, or you don't get the funding. That is control. That is one agency that I would cut. You know, if a local school needs funding from the state or from the federal, let them file the grants that's out there offered for the local schools, but don't attach. Uh, well, if we give you this money, you've got to do this. No, let the local schools take the federal government control away from the federal government. Give the local schools the money and let them use it where they see fit. I am so sick of the federal government saying, well, Sydney, Ohio, we'll give you $2 million for your school, but you're going to do it our way. No, no. Look, federal government should be saying, Sydney, you qualified for the $2 million to help you upgrade student books or this, that, and the other, and equipment. Here's the money. Spend it and do it where it fits the students. We're not going to tell you how to spend that money. Here, you've met the qualifications. Now just get it done. There, and you will save. And I checked a little bit into. I got my total figures on this yet, Tom, but it would save somewhere around. I think it was 860 some $1 million a year, or every half a year, on government controlling what the local schools do. And they could still end up using that money in return to let us give it to the schools and let the local schools take care of that. That is one of the organizations that the feds has got, that they'll give you money, but they're going to tell you, um, uh, they're going to tell you that you, they need to quit telling you how to spend the money. Give it to the local schools and let them distribute and do it as they see fit, because they know what they need. They know what the students need. Uh, let's welcome in Swamp Fox News Cooks and Reviews. Everybody say hello to that gentleman. He is an awesome guy. Um, I'm glad he's here. Um, uh, would I disband Planned Parenthood? No more money to Planned Parenthood. Well, I tell you what, I think the parents need to teach their kids Planned Parenthood. I think the government needs to stop the Planned Parenthood and use that money to help the parents and families. That's what I think. I think Planned Parenthood needs to be spent elsewhere on helping our families. That is Planned Parenthood. I think is a government control where they can tell you what you can and can't do. I think we need to let our parents and our families take care of each other instead of our government telling us how to take care of our families. Uh, it worked all these many years without Planned Parenthood. It can work again if the government would get their nose out of Planned Parenthood. Uh, some parts of it, yeah, I think would work good, but I think that Planned Parenthood program, I think it needs to be um, I, 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 I got a problem with Planned Parenthood because it's a government control. I think, that should be left to the locals and the local people and the local families to take care of that. Uh, Abortion, and I know I'm going to get flack for this, and I'll tell you how I feel about abortion. Let me catch up on some of this reading real quick. I missed some of it. Uh, Planned Parenthood needs to be disbanded completely. I think. I'm not worried about Trump Jr. right now. I've sent a couple emails to his email, and I've not got a response yet. I will get because he's good about responding. Uh, you know, I think me and Trump Jr. could work together great, but some things. But that's on down the road. We're going to see how all this stuff um, is um, uh, works out as far as Trump Jr. I put this up here. I believe it too. Swamp Fox. Abortion is murder. Now, I will tell you this: if a pregnancy is literally killing the baby and it's killing the mother, what do you do? I mean, we need to let the doctors determine some of those things, I think. But when someone gets pregnant, but and it's an accidental pregnancy, they want to get an abortion just because they didn't plan it, they didn't want it. Well, I think that's murder. I really do. I think it's murder. I think the abortion laws stink. I don't think you should just be able to get an abortion just because you screwed up. There is plenty of people out there that would adopt that child if that child's in this world. And I'll tell you right now, the reason why I say that, you're looking at a guy right here, me. I was adopted. Okay. I was adopted at 18 months old. I was given a home and a good God fearing home when I was 18 months old. So you can't tell me that you couldn't take that money if it's a medical issue, something serious and life threatening. Do what you need to do. But if you're doing it just because you screwed up, I think that's murder. I don't care how you look at it. That's how I feel. I don't think and I'm not saying I'm not trying to take a woman's right to choose away. I'm saying the woman choose, in some cases to do what she did. And it's made it easy for her to go just, have it sucked out and just throw it away. My Bible tells me different. Swamp Fox, do me a favor. Don't uh, uh, just look. I don't nobody to start timing out people. I don't nobody to start. Look. Let's talk about this stuff. You may not agree with me, Swamp Fox. I agree with you, buddy. I do. I agree with you. It's murder, and I don't like it. I think as president, I think we could address that issue where it's not affecting a woman's right to choose. Anybody should choose their medical that they need to get done to help them. But if they screw up and spread their legs, they get pregnant. I don't think abortion should be a right to take that life away just because they screwed up. If you don't want it, have it and give it up for adoption. And give that life. They say, well, it's not alive. If it's not alive, let me remind you of something. If it's not alive, if that fetus is not alive, then how's it growing? How's it going to grow up and get bigger and produce a baby? They say it's not alive. Well, if it ain't alive, it's not going to grow up and produce into a baby and be born. It would just rot away and cause that woman's body to get blood poison because it rotted inside of her. So it is alive. It is alive. And it grows. Something that ain't alive will not grow. That's the bottom line. So how can anybody say that a fetus is not alive is beyond me. I'm telling you, if it's alive, it's going to grow. If it's not alive, it's not going to grow. I'm just reading over some of you guys. Yes, I know what Planned Parenthood is. I'm going to go into that issue a little bit more. That's a little more of what I need to do some more reading in and a little more understanding of what. But I think Planned Parenthood is a bad idea from what I've gathered from the information I have. Um, uh, um, uh, I've got. I'll bring a document that I've got on Planned Parenthood that I got from down here at um, uh, because Planned Parenthood is part of that whole abortion issue. It's a part of a whole bigger picture of what and like I said, some of these things need to be put together. So I don't want to overstep something and say something that I'm not uh, know all the facts to. So I want to make sure I know all my facts before I give you guys my thoughts and my policies. The new Green Deal. Um, some of these issues, Thorn. I'm I'm trying to study on some of these, but somebody told me the other day, and maybe you can tell me. Understand? Um, and I know who you are. Um, uh, I know you want me to be specific, but I have not read the rest of what I'm trying to read on that. My next weekend, I hope to have you some answers on that. The new Green Deal, uh, and like I said, I've been listening to some of the politicians, and I've not read the whole thing about the new Green Deal, and some of the information I've got is positive about some of the new Green Deal. Some of it is not positive. So I want to know what I'm talking about before I get on here. I don't believe in giving you a bad answer for something that.
Swamp Fox, my brother, you right on the money,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
he is, and I respect Swamp Fox's opinion about things. But like I said, this, I from what I've heard from some of the ones that did the new Green Deal. Like I said, I don't know the whole specifics on that because I've not really got into reading it. But what I've heard that it's not good for our country, the new Green Deal. I think it restricts companies to a point of they won't be able to survive on some of the type of regulations and stuff that this new Green Deal is wanting to promote. I think it's a one side, from what I've gathered, it's a one-sided proposition. I think it was produced, and it comes and I'm just being honest with you. From what little that I've seen and heard about the new Green Deal, it's to benefit a certain group of people and companies, and very few, and it leaves a lot of the companies and a lot of the people out in the cold, you know. So, like I said, some of this stuff. Let's see. Like I said, I'm trying to keep up with you guys. I'm gonna have to get me someone to come in and ask me questions that they're asking. I think.
Well, we'll just put some of that on. We'll get back to you on the next stream.
Yeah,
Let me get a little knowledge on.
yeah. I'm gonna go through this, and some of the stuff that I can't answer, then I've got to do a little more research.
But I got two most important things in this country that we all really need to focus on. One is our economy. The second is how can we get some of this money that the federal government is blowing to get back into this economy. Well, I have one answer. Is the only thing I can come up with, because they're putting so much money into policing and jails that it's draining our economy really quick. For instance, each prisoner that goes to jail, and all they do have to do is go into booking for 24 hours, and that jail system is receiving $185 for that 24 period. So if they get incarcerated for 30 days, that's $185 per head per inmate.
Yeah.
Most prisons house what, 1,300 inmates?
Well, they more. A lot
45% of that money comes from the federal government.
Yeah, and that's something that needs to be addressed too. Dom, what is your experience? Do you have to be president in 2024? You seem level-headed. Want to know your experience in managing people or a business? Okay. Now, I've not ran no multi-billion-dollar business. Okay. When I moved in Ohio in 2000, okay, I have drove trucks, and I've drilled water wells and oil wells my whole life. That's the main things that I've done. But I had a roofing business that I started in 2000. Okay. Now, when I started, I bought a cheap 79 Ford F-250 extended cab. It was old. It was yellow. It wasn't nothing pretty. I bought an air compressor. I bought 3 nail guns, roofing nailers. I bought a button cap nailer, and I bought 5 or 6 air hoses, and I bought a generator. And I bought other tools that I needed for roofing shovels, and all this kind of stuff. I spent somewhere around the neighborhood of $2,000 just on equipment, not including my truck. The truck actually I give less than $200 for. I just had to get it run because it had set for a few years. Now, when you start a business, number one, you've got to stay within your means. I only had so much to spend, so what I had to do, I had to buy the equipment that I needed. and transportation to be able to do that. Ladders, a couple of ladders and stuff to be able to do roofing. I started my roofing business. But what makes me good on uh, managing, the people are a business is one thing: common sense spending and common sense dealing with people. I had a time hiring people to work for me once I got started. Then I had a cruise onto my company. I did that for 4 years. When I started just by myself. When I ended it and sold my part of this business out, I had 27 three-man crews that I put together. They roofed for me and they worked every day. But with being president of the United States, it's like this. And my parents taught me this for years. Live within your means. If you start a business, run that business within your means. And that's why a lot of businesses with people fail, is they fail to plan and live within their means. You know, I couldn't start out with a brand new beautiful truck with all brand new equipment. A lot of my equipment was used. I bought from a local rental place that they had that they was getting rid of. I kept within the means of what I could spend. And I operated and only added to that business as I could pay for it as I built it. You know, I didn't want to add I didn't want to add a crew if I didn't have the work for them. That would be ridiculous. Or add a crew and I couldn't pay them, which they got paid on however much they roofed, but I wanted to be able to keep them busy. So that's how I built. And I'll bring that kind of experience of, the only difference in between being president and running a business is the money is bigger and you have more people that you're responsible for. The people that's in the United States, the American citizens, that's who I have to worry about. That's who I have to work for, not corporate businesses. Yes, you have to help those businesses to be able to stay in business, but you got to remember who put you there at that office to run that company, the United States. If you don't manage it right, guess what? We end up in a recession. If you really want to blow it, you'll end up in a depression like in 1929 when that happened. So, what I think that government, and the reason why I say that, I think government needs to start staying more within the means and adding as they do. I don't think they need to keep spending and spending and spending when they don't have it. I think sometimes the United States government is spending more money than what they're actually printing. And this is something that will not happen on my command. I will not just send millions and millions of dollars to these foreign governments that hate the United States for them to buy missiles and pay for terrorists to come back and use the money they got from us to kill us. I don't think I think that is the wrong thing for any president to do is give some of these countries that is known supporters of terrorists, give them money for them to use it against us later on down the road. And that's what they done in Iran. And
I just need to respond to Swamp Fox right quick.
okay, Swamp Fox.
Swamp Fox, you are absolutely 100% correct as far as 100% goes, but I am not wrong neither. The federal government pays 45% of the inmates' care. The local city state taxes pays the other percentage. If we cut the federal funding to the local city state taxes, that leaves them less money, which means they do not go out and arrest everybody for every little thing to throw them behind bars because now it's costing them.
Well, Jim, you got to remember the federal government where they get their money. They get their money from the locals and states.
Yeah, they get it from all.
Yeah. So
But
their money is literally our money. And this private prisons, I tell you what, this should not be allowed in the United States. It is wrong to use
that one too.
prisons as a moneymaker. If you got people that is too dangerous that will get out and harm the American citizens, yeah, they need to be locked up. Don't lock them up for smoking a damn joint. Don't lock them up because you as a police officer got a hair up your butt and you just want to get some money for your local jail. That needs to be a control. I'm interested in the USMCA. I am. Look, I've not got it. I've got to find those documents because that's what Trump signed. But apparently, from what I gathered, what little I've read, the USMCA will benefit the United States more than what the last deal that was made with Mexico and Canada and our deal. But that I've not got into yet. Uh, I'm sorry. Some of these new policies, like he just signed the USMCA or signing it, I'm interested in too. It apparently is good for our country. It was a better deal than any deal we've ever had with Mexico and Canada. It brings more revenue back into the U.S., but it also, we need to remember this. Where's that money coming back to? The U.S. government. So the U.S. government needs to say, wait a minute, we're getting more money in. Let's appropriate it back into the community here that made those products and the trade better for America. Let's send it back out and let's keep this thing rolling to bring more money in to help the American farmer, to help the American company or the steel company. We lost thousands and thousands of steel company workers back years ago because we started buying all of our steel from China. We need to get everything all back. Uh, well, for one thing, we will be selling more products overseas, and I think the benefit of the new uh, deal with USMCA is that it will put more Americans to work. It will help that American company produce more products to be sold out other than, your little local market. It can be exported to other countries that needs those products. See, that's the whole thing is, you know, we had got to the point where the United States was importing more than what we was exporting. And that's what Mr. Trump is trying to correct. We deserve to export our products out to the world just as much as China and Mexico and Canada wants to import them into our country. So we need an even balance on what is trans exported and what's imported. Uh, Up till the uh, up till the USMCA, we was getting screwed on our exports. We'll have to see once I read that, once I can get a copy of it and start doing some reading on that to see how it's going to be. From what little I've seen on some snippets of some of the sections of it, it will help us export more product and help our companies keep more people in America working, producing those products because there's more going out now. That is what's going to help our economy and help keep America and help our job growth keep going, uh, keep going up. Um, but where is he? Swamp Fox. I have learned to respect him, and I Jim, I agree with what he's saying about this government. And if you really look into it, uh, you know, where does all the money come from? It's trickled down to you and me. You're getting it, and then you end up giving a lot of it back to the government and sales tax and and paying your federal tax and your state tax and your local tax. They've got us taxed to death, and then they want to tax you more and more and more. Uh, but all the federal government money comes from you and I.
Right. I didn't argue. Well, what I'm saying, I didn't argue that at all. But what I'm saying is, it's broken down into brackets. You have your federal tax. We all pay the federal tax. Every single one of us who make a paycheck, we pay federal tax. Every single one of us who run a business, we pay federal tax. That's the federal government's money. Then, whatever state you live in, you're paying city, state, and local tax.
But
That stays in that state. It don't go anywhere else.
really, no, it doesn't. Not all of it, because believe it or not, each state ends up paying the federal government so much money for this some of these tax deals that goes on that nobody ever hears of. Um,
Yes, it's called comptrolling.
and
It's the
so,
comptroller.
so yeah, and it's just like now I'm gonna put this out here of what I think about healthcare real quick because I've got some other things I want to do, Jim. But
Yep.
look, Canada has, I think, a pretty good health care system. Everybody's got health care, and it don't cost them. They got a 15% tax over the board for everybody, and everybody has uh, health insurance. They have health care. Now, I understand, and don't nobody take me the wrong way. If you get hurt, you need to go to the ER. That's fine. You're 15% over the board in tax. Everybody's got. But if you want to go beautify your hairline or your do a facelift or a tummy tuck, I don't think. I think everybody needs to be paying for their own crap when it comes to that. But when it comes to regular health care to keep you healthy, to keep you working, keep you, I think you deserve health care. And I don't think it should be, I think these pharmaceuticals are out of control. That's something that I will look at. But I think we need to base our healthcare system off of Canada's, but we need to do it where it helps all Americans. I don't think this Obamacare, I never did like it. It cost me way too much money, and I think when it went into effect, it hurt me bad. So I'm leaning more towards of enter of coming up with a over the board tax uh, that everybody pays, but you have health care. If you get sick or if you need this or need that, you can get it. Now, I think all the specialty stuff like plastic surgery. Now, if you need plastic surgery to fix something where you had an accident, that should be covered. But if you're just wanting to go get a facelift or a tummy tuck, well, you're just gonna have to pay or have your own private insurance paid for where you can get that covered. But as far as the basic health care to keep people healthy, I think you're entitled to it. And I think we need to base our health care somewhere like Canada has. So everyone uh, uh, has a proper health care. And that's one thing that I will work on as president. I will have a health care that will work for everybody, that everybody will be able to go get health care without having the hundreds and thousands of dollars expense just to get a treatment for a health problem. I think pre-existing conditions should be covered because that is telling me if they put a limit on, if they say that, well, this ain't covered, you're saying that we don't care about that U.S. citizen. You had that before. No, you need to cover it. If it's, I don't care if it's cancer, I don't care what it is. If it's a pre-existing, you know, they need to be covered if it deals with their health. I don't think no one should be saying, well, you had this before this. No, I think we need a tax over the board, uh, somewhere like Kansas, 50% over the board. If you need something medical, you can go get it done, and you're not stuck with with a high freaking bill that you know that you can't pay because you're a lower income bracket. All the specialty cares and all that stuff. Yeah, that needs to be taken care of with your own private insurance. But as far as your health care, I think everybody's entitled to it. And I think everybody should be able to go to their local doctor or their local ER and get it without the fear of being so overcharged. It's ridiculous. Um, I can't keep up with all these comments. We'll have to address some of these a little bit later. Um, I think this. Um, I tell you one that I got to figure. I don't know if it's right or not, but this one commerce with awarding government contracts. If and they and I don't know how to put it. There's a thing where some of these politicians is got family or whatever, and they're getting government contracts under the table, and they're extorting high amounts of cost to be able to do things. You're either going to run the country or you're going to be in business to help your family grow that business. I don't think people that's running our Congress and running the United States needs to be contracting out to their own personal family. And I heard and in a thing that I read that if the government would stop the commerce of giving government contracts to government officials' families, our government, United States, would save, I think it was $6.5 trillion every 2 years. And that's a lot of money. I think that needs to be cut out. Um, because there's a lot of government waste in giving expensive contracts to family businesses that's in government office. You're either going to be a congressman or you're going to be the House or representative, but you can't be up there snorting government money for your family to run their business. Let them do it the old fashioned way and build it and put in for contracts to do things for the government the honest way, and not because you got somebody up there in Washington D.C. to give you that contract underneath the table. That's done every day, and I think that's wrong. I think, I asked somebody something about that, Mama. No, um, I believe the pharmaceutical companies. I think the government needs a jerk a knot in their butt because you know these medicines for diabetics and stuff don't cost that much. They've had them around for years. A lot of them that helps, and I think there needs to be a serious investigation in some of these pharmaceutical companies and how much and how many people that's in government and control that they're getting kickbacks from these pharmaceuticals, and I think that needs to be put a stop to. That's something that I will have to address. Like I said, I don't know how to address the whole complete thing right now, but that's one thing I believe needs to be addressed is the kickbacks that some of these politicians are getting from these pharmaceuticals as far as they want to give this politician uh, $20 million for his campaign. I think that's wrong. They're buying their way into the government to uh, where they can make their pharmaceutical company make them billions of dollars because they have campaigned with a certain politician to get into office. None of them people are going to be able to buy my campaign. If whoever wants to give to my campaign, I'm going to be working for the American people, all Americans, and I'm not talking about just a few, for all of them, regardless of what level. If businesses wants to, I think businesses, these big companies, I think pharmaceutical companies, I think they need, they need tax breaks. I think they do. I think car companies need tax breaks, but uh, they need to put a stop to overcharging the American citizen because they're still getting tax breaks and this, that, and other. I think they need to pay their fair share, but they also need to make sure they're taking care of people's health. They're in a pharmaceutical company. They are in business to bring products that will make people's lives better, not cost them so much money they have to decide whether if I'm going to eat this month or if I'm going to get my medicine this month. Or do I need to go to Canada and get my medicine because I can get this same stuff for $23, or I can stay home and spend $500 for the same amount of medicine in the United States. Ain't get caught on to that yet. People's going across in Mexico, people's going across in Canada and getting their diabetic supplies that can afford to do that. And they're getting it way cheaper in Canada than they are down here in the United States. Why can't we do the same thing for our American people to keep them from going across the country or across the United States into another country to get the medicines they need? That's the problem right there. Let's see. All right. Um, I see what you're saying. Which department? Uh, and there it is right there. And then you never got the is rising. You know, I'm not going to answer that as a direct thing right now. There are four or 42 departments that is very suspicious to me. Don't. There's 42 departments that's very suspicious to me. I'm gonna do some research on this, and I bet you I can come up with 10 departments. And one of the departments that I'm thinking of is
Denver.
huh?
Sorry.
Do what?
I said Denver, and then I just started laughing. I said sorry.
Um, Jim, there are so many departments in our federal government, and um, uh, Stone Pirate is asking me, uh, three departments that I would cut, and one of, and I don't have a figure because I've not looked into it. Uh, I've got there's 42 departments that has been very suspicious to me. And I'm gonna look into those. I'm gonna pull them up on my computer and see and read some of their stuff. And I bet you I can come up with 10 departments in a couple of weeks that needs to be eliminated totally. And this is another one. I think the government needs to quit spending money on trying to regulate farmers. If we took the federal government out of regulating farmers and left it for the states to help the farmers take care of what they need to and do it in a safe manner and far as the environment and stuff like that, you know, just that alone would save the federal government, I think, 2.5 billion with a billion dollars a year, and that's putting the burden of what that state needs as far as regulations on farmers. I think that would be one of the departments that I would have to want to eliminate because, like I said, 2 over $2 billion a year in savings, and let the state handle that because they've already got the people that's in agriculture in each state. Let them help the farmers do what's good for their state. The state knows where their water systems are. The state knows where all their things are. Let the state help the farmers, their local farmers, because the federal government doesn't know what uh, they don't know their area like the state does. You damn straight there, B. I work for a mega farm, and I tell you what, the federal government has their nose in our business every day. The federal government, not the state, the federal government. And like I said, the federal government needs to get out of farming and take care of more issues than just well, you'd say 2.5, $2.6 billion a year, uh, and just eliminating that one and letting the state take care of their um, take care of their farmers. 2.5, $2.6 billion. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of hogwash. So, uh, Well, I want my money spent well, and and like I said, I've got a lot of numbers and stuff that I've got to come up with. Like I said, I've just started this, and I will come up with some of these things that of these government entities from the feds that needs to be eliminated. Like I said, I knew that question would come up, but I've not had time to do that. But I will come up with some answers on more of the regulations and government these uh, departments that need to be gotten rid of. I think, and this is just like I said, from what little that I know about the new Green Deal, I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be repealed. I think it needs to be um gotten rid of. I think that was a mistake doing the new Green Deal. But like I said, I don't know everything there is no about, but what everything I've heard, it's all bad. I'm talking about bad for just each individual. Um, I think it's bad for companies. So, like I said, I want to read more about the new Green Deal, and I need to pull up and study that and see what can be done to I guess if it's as bad as what I've been told and what little bit I've read, it needs to be gotten rid of. So, guys, I'm telling you what, I've got to get out of here. My email is in my description. I appreciate everybody coming in here. Up, Jim, you gone? Dang it, he disappeared. I wish he hadn't disappeared, but anyway, um, well, I will say this. I will say this. Uh, I can't give it all up, but I don't need 400K a year to survive. I can give up. I'll probably give up half of it, but see, you got to remember, I'm not rich. I tell you what I will do. I will give up half of that and give to charity. And I tell you the charity that I will give it to is I will give it to cancer research because my mom died of cancer, and I will give up 200,000 of that to charity. I've got to have so much to live on now. And one thing on president's salary, entertainment, he gets $19,000 a year for entertainment. That's out the window. I don't need $19,000 for entertainment. If I want to go to the movies, me and the first lady wants to go to the movie, we'll go to the movies. I'll pay for it out of my salary, out of what I'm making. Uh, and there's the expenditures and stuff and this, that, and other. I mean, it just adds up. So, you know, I don't need a lot of extra things. My job is to run the country, not to be going out and blowing money on a bunch of extra stuff. It's nonsense. And if I can't live off of $200,000 a year, then I've got a problem. I'm no better than you guys. Oh, phone overheated. Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Affordable housing. Um, from what I've seen, the affordable housing in this area, I think, is a joke. It's not affordable. Uh, that's the regulated. People give up everything they got. People got to give up everything just to get this affordable house. I think you shouldn't have to give $700 a month for a rat trap. I think people should build, and all of our veterans should have a home to live in, or an apartment to live in. No one should live out on the streets, and these affordable housing people, these housing, and I can't think off the bat, that control uh, low income housing. There's so many rules and regulations. Good people cannot get them because of the rules and regulations. Stop the bull crap. Get somebody in a home or in an apartment where you can keep get them off the streets. And our veterans is one thing that we're going to do a nationwide sweep on, and to get all veterans completely off the street that are homeless and get them the help that they need and the housing that they need. Our veterans has earned that right, and we are letting them down. We're letting these people down. But are you talking about the affordable housing, the federal the federal housing in Washington? The affordable housing here on the local level is regulated by the affordable housing in Washington, D.C. I think the affordable housing local in the state and the counties and the towns, the Washington, D.C. needs to get out of it. I'm telling you, all these like affordable housing out of Washington, D.C., they're regulating, they're getting money off the states. They're getting money off of the local people. The feds need to get out and let the local government, the local cities and stuff, take care of their local people and make affordable housing for their community. It doesn't work the same in this town that it does in another town. So anyway, like I said, I've got to get out of here. I know I've got some things to do, and like I said, some of this stuff on the new Green Deal and some of that stuff I'm gonna try to read up on next week when I come in. We will talk about the new Green Deal. I promise you, because like I said, I've heard a lot about that. I've heard a lot of bad about it, and so I will. I've got an email. I don't have a website set up yet. I've got to get one, and it's going to cost me a little bit to put up a website, but I may go into Facebook and put me a Facebook page in for now, and get one set up for that. I will have an address, a PO box for people to mail me. And donate or whatever. I've got to get that. My email address. As a matter of fact, here I'll put it in. I'll put my email address in here. Here's my email. It's also in the description. There's my email address. And Jim, I need to talk to you the first part of the week. We've been talking about you. It worked. So, but there's my email address. Like I said, I've got a lot of reading to do. I got a lot to do, guys. This went much better today. I don't want nobody get mad. Look, we all have our opinions. We all have, let's say them. Let's be respectful. and then we can work on the problems that we need to work to on as Americans. Um, I will see about getting the website up in in the next couple 3 weeks. I will try to get a website up for me. Maybe I can get my uh, I will get the first lady. I'll get her to help me start me up a website. I'll get her to check into that. So, guys, I need to get out of here. Um, I said, hopefully in another couple 3 weeks, I will get Mrs. Country. I'll get her to help me build me a website, so you guys can go on it and see some of the things. Now, and then once I get it up, then I'll start posting some policies and stuff on it too. And that's what I will get to do. So, other words, guys, I've got to get out of here. I hope some of my answers has been helpful. I hope I've not hurt nobody's feelings. I hope nobody gets upset with me. But if you do, it's on you. I try to be respectful to everyone. We will have a good one. I try to be respectful. I know I'm going to have hard questions, and I'm also new at this. And as time goes on, I will start having more answers to some of these questions. Okay. That's why I started early and right now, you guys, I thank every one of you. You have helped me understand some of the issues that you guys have, and those issues I've got, and I will work on them and try to have you what I think should be done or needs to be done about it. Because I don't know all the issues that you guys want to know about. So I'm getting my uh, I want to know what issues mean the most to you guys. So if you give me the issues that concern you, I can research them and find out what I would actually do. Or as far as and that's a good thing. We need to eliminate some of the Fed programming that's nothing but eating up money, and we can give it to our kids for education and stuff. Um, well, I tried to answer them to the best of my ability. Like I said, on the new Green Deal, well, I don't think none of you guys are going to be able to go this high, but I will set a cap on donations to 100,000. Um I want to keep. I don't really want corporate money because I won't be able to promise them what they expect a normal politician to do. I'm not a politician, so they're not going to get from me what they could get from Joe Biden or any of them. I'm not going to do that. My donations is going to come uh, from the American citizens. And the more it gets out, like I said, I've lost probably 40 subscribers since I started this. That's okay. Um, um, so, guys, um, I'm out of here. Love every one of you, and I appreciate you coming in, Mama Non. I appreciate you watching over everything. I appreciate no you not wanting to time out nobody. I don't want that. I can't have that. Don't want that. We've got to be able to talk about these things. And like I said, the only thing that I expect is no hate speech and not using the N word or none of those racist language words. I don't go for that. Never have. And I'm not going to start putting it because if you start using that kind of language, I will boot you out permanently. There will be no coming back. Uh, Dome, I think we've talked about that. I meant what I said. You know, if anyone comes in here with racist attitude and all that, I will block you and you will not come back in. I'm not going to have that around me. I don't believe in that. So anyway, guys, God bless every one of you, and God bless the United States.